Welcome back, everyone. I'd like to talk to you today about connectors, specifically analog audio connectors. Before we start, I'm going to refer to another lesson. Keep it in your mind that balanced audio takes 3 conductors to achieve. Unbalanced audio only takes 2 because it's just an electrical circuit. So what is balanced audio? Balanced audio is a standard for noise reduction in audio cabling and equipment. In order for balanced audio to work, the standard needs to be agreed upon by both pieces of equipment at either end of the chain and the cable itself. So the microphone, the mixer, and the cable all need to be capable of balanced audio, which takes 3 conductors. Alright, moving on. We're going to look at some connectors now. First one I want you to look at is a standard jack or 6.5 connector. Now, this is a very common connector in music. You'll find them on keyboards, guitars, basses, guitar amplifiers, anything at the musical end. Typically, we don't run things this way. We'll actually convert this type of unbalanced signal that a guitar would output or a bass would output, and we'll convert it to something that's balanced, either with a DI or we may even just put a microphone or an amplifier. Either way, this unbalanced connector is not the end of the chain. So these are commonly referred to as being called a jack, a 6.5 or a tip. We're going to call this a TS connector for tip and sleeve. That way there's no confusion between both types of 6.5. Okay, so moving on. Now this is also a 6.5 jack. This is a balanced one. So this has a tip, a ring, and a sleeve, which is 3 conductors capable of balanced audio transmission. There will be 3 wires inside this cable as well, and at both ends. So this is more commonly used at the output stage and between audio equipment devices post mixer. So what I mean by that is it's very unlikely that you'll plug a microphone straight into this, but you may use this to get out of your mixer, to take a signal out of an auxiliary from a mixer, to get out of a left main out on a small mixer. They're all balanced, they all use the noise reduction capability, but typically at line level. Now what that means is that when you look at a mixing desk, the mixing desk's preamp will take the signal of a microphone or an instrument that's quite low voltage, and the gain pot will, or the preamp will lift that signal up and make it a higher voltage signal. There is an agreed upon standard, and that's professional line level, and that's what we typically run this down. So you'll find this on a mixer output. There are other uses for this connector. Now, obviously, if there's 3 conductors and it takes 3 conductors to run a balanced signal, this is only running 1 balanced signal. However, what we can do with 3 conductors is run unbalanced signal twice. Question, why would we do that? Maybe your headphones would be unbalanced and it'd be a left and right, so there'd be 2 signals on there. Alternatively, to confuse you even more, there's such a thing as an insert cable, and what that does is it takes a signal out of a console and feeds it back into the console, enabling us to insert a piece of equipment, such as a gate or a compressor, into a signal chain. And what it would mean is that we'd have signal flowing in 2 directions down this cable, or a send and return. Alright, moving on. The next connector I'd like you to look at is the standard for balanced audio transmission. Now this is used both at line level and at mic level. You'll see this on the outside of a console from the output onwards towards the speaker, and you'll see this at the input stage as well. So you'll see this plugged into microphones. Now, if you did plug this into a microphone, you'd need the female end. So this is the female end here. The sound goes into the holes and comes out of the pins, and it's always the same for audio cabling as a standard. 3 conductors, as you can see. minimum required for balanced audio transmission. Would this be used as an insert? Good question. It's unlikely. It just doesn't get done. It could be. Would it be used on a set of headphones? It's also unlikely. You don't tend to see that. Alright, so we've looked at a couple of professional audio connectors. Now we're going to have a look at a couple of domestic audio connectors. The first one is also a TRS. This one we're going to refer to as 3.5. If you want to ask for this or something with this on it, you're going to say, I need a 3.5. We don't want to call this a TRS because we don't want to confuse the issue between the 6.5 TRS. What is this used for? Mostly just headphones and laptop outputs, not much more. Finally, another domestic connector. This is called an RCA. This doesn't get used too much in production anymore. Occasionally you might have a CD player or something. Once upon a time this was very common in the home. If you had a Xbox prior to the Xbox One, HDMI hadn't become a standard yet, and this would be a triple cable and there'd be a yellow one for transmitting video at standard def as well. So one more thing to clarify, I mentioned that it's unlikely an instrument would be run down one of these or one of these. If it was a guitar or bass, it's likely to be this unbalanced TS. Well, what do we do with that in the professional world? Quite simple. We have a device that converts this to this, and it's called a DI box. And we'll see one of them very shortly.